You ever notice how some words just show up everywhere in completely different fields, talking about totally different things, but somehow they hold on to the same core idea? Well, today we're going to unpack one of the big ones, integration. It's a concept that, believe it or not, ties together mathematics, big business, and even the technology you use every single day. So let's just think about that for a second. Calculus, corporate takeovers, and cloud computing. I mean, what on earth could possibly connect those three things? One is about finding the area under a curve, another is about multi-billion-dollar mergers, and the last one is about the software that runs our lives. The answer, as you've probably figured out, is that one powerful concept, integration. Okay, let's get into it. At its absolute heart, integration is about this one simple thing: taking separate, distinct parts and combining them to create a new, unified whole. That's it. This one definition is the key that's going to unlock all three of the worlds we're about to explore. It's the thread that ties this whole story together. So let's start where it all began, way back in the world of mathematics. This is, without a doubt, the oldest and most fundamental version of integration, an idea that some of the most brilliant minds in history have been wrestling with for over 2,000 years. The journey to figure this out was a long one. I mean, it goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. They had this genius trick called the method of exhaustion. Basically, to find the area of a weird, curvy shape, you just fill it up with an infinite number of tiny rectangles or triangles you did know how to measure. Archimedes got really good at this. But the real game changer, that came in the 17th century, when Newton and Leibniz, working separately, cracked the code with the fundamental theorem of calculus. That gave us the powerful tool we still use today. So what is it, really? In calculus, you can think of integration as a kind of superpowered adding machine. It's how you add up an infinite number of impossibly tiny things. Imagine trying to find the area under a curve. You're essentially summing up the areas of an infinite number of unimaginably thin slices to get one single precise number. It's how you turn a complex, messy curve into a simple, exact answer. Okay, I know that sounds really abstract, but check this out. The mathematician Henri Lebesgue came up with a perfect analogy. He said, imagine you have to pay someone some money. The old way of integrating, the Riemann integral, is like just reaching into your pocket and pulling out whatever bills and coins you find, in any old order. It works, you pay the debt, but it's kind of chaotic. But his method, the Lebesgue integral, is way smarter. As he put it, you first sort all your money into piles of identical value, all the pennies together, all the 20s together, and then you pay. Both methods get you to the same total, right? But that organized approach is way more powerful for solving the really, really tough problems. All right, so we've seen how math integrates tiny, infinite slices to get a total. But now, let's zoom out a lot. What happens when the parts you're combining aren't tiny slices, but entire companies? Well, that brings us to our second world, business. In the corporate world, integration is a massive strategic play. It's all about growth and control. And it generally comes in two main flavors. You've got vertical integration. That's when a company buys another company that's part of its supply chain, like a car maker buying the tire factory. Then there's horizontal integration. That's when a company buys or mergers with a direct competitor. Think of one social media app buying another one. So why do they do this? It all comes right back to our original definition. It's about combining separate business parts to create a stronger, more powerful whole. With vertical integration, a company gets total control and efficiency over its whole process. With horizontal integration, you get a bigger piece of the market, you get more efficient, and you might even knock out a rival. It is all about strategic combination. Okay, so from ancient math to modern boardrooms, the idea holds up. But in our world, the digital age, the parts aren't always physical companies. A lot of the time, they're invisible. They're just bits of data trapped inside different pieces of software. And this brings us to our final world, technology. This is a huge problem for almost every company out there. You've got one app for your sales team, another for inventory, maybe a third for customer service. And none of them talk to each other. They're like little islands of data. We call them data silos. And the solution is Enterprise Application Integration, or EAI. It's basically the digital glue that connects all these different apps so they can finally share information and work together. Now, the first way people tried to fix this was, well, it was a mess. It's called point-to-point integration. You literally just draw a direct line connecting every single app to every other app. With 2 or 3, that's fine. But what about when you have 10 or 50? You end up with an unmanageable, tangled web of connections, a true digital spaghetti monster. Thankfully, a much smarter way came along, the hub and spoke model. Instead of that crazy web, every app connects to one central hub. This hub acts like an air traffic controller, managing all the messages and data flowing between the systems. It's so much cleaner, so much more organized, and way easier to scale.
And the benefits here are massive. When your apps are all integrated, data just flows where it needs to go. That means you can make better, faster decisions. The whole company runs more efficiently, and your customers get a much better experience because they don't have to see all the messy wiring behind the curtain. You're basically making the whole operation smarter.
So we've jumped from calculus to corporate strategy to cloud architecture. Now it's time to connect all the dots and really look at that single powerful idea that's been running through this whole explainer. The common thread is this fundamental drive to create something greater from smaller pieces. It doesn't matter if we're talking about finding an area, building an empire, or designing a software system. The goal is always the same: combine the separate parts to make the whole more powerful than the sum of its pieces. And this table here really just nails it. Look at the pattern. In math, the parts are those infinitesimal slices and the whole is a total area. In business, the parts are entire companies and the whole is a bigger, more dominant corporation. And in tech, the parts are all those disconnected apps and the whole is a single, seamless system. It's the exact same big idea, just playing out in totally different fields.
So what this really shows us is that integration isn't just some technical jargon. It's a fundamental pattern for how we solve problems, how we build things, how we make progress. We've just looked at 3 worlds where it's absolutely crucial. But the truth is, this pattern is everywhere. Which leaves us with one final thought to take away. Where else in your world do you see this powerful process of turning separate parts into a more perfect whole?